Hey there, thanks for joining me today. This is Laura Lynn with Keep Inking Up. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! In San Antonio, Texas. And do you have any neglected stamps in your stamp collection? I know that I do. I tend to use the same stamps over and over again, whatever happens to be on my desk at the time, and sometimes I gather up to about 10 or 12 stamp sets on my desk, and I just kind of use them over and over again. But then when I put them away, I will see that I have some stamp sets that I haven't used for quite some time. So this past week, when I was putting away some stamps, I made the conscious effort to pull out some stamps that I know that I haven't used for a while and to purposefully use them. So these are two of the stamp sets that I picked out that I know that I haven't used for a while. The watercolor shapes I've maybe used a couple of weeks ago. It hasn't been too long, but it's been a little while. Now the Knit Together's background stamp, oh my goodness, I can't even remember. I think it's been several months since I've used this stamp set. And I don't know why, because I love both of these, but you know, there's just so many hours in the day to stamp, and I just can't stamp everything all the time. So anyway, I purposefully decided that I would pull these two stamp sets out and try to figure out how to use them. So when I put them on my desk and I looked at them, the first thing that came to my mind was, why don't I use the kissing technique? That's a technique that I haven't even done for quite some time. So I'm going to use a neglected stamps that I haven't used for a while, and I'm going to use a technique that I haven't done for a while. So I think that's a win-win. I'm using something old, and I am bringing back an old technique. So I am going to set these aside for just a moment while I bring out my supplies to show you what I'm going to do. Because the watercolor shapes is a photopolymer stamp set, I am going to use my deluxe foam mat. I already have the square image from that stamp set ready to go. And I'm going to pull in a piece of our basic white cardstock that I'm going to stamp on. And for this technique, I'm going to use the Bermuda Bay ink. Now there are two different ways that you can do this kissing technique. So in the first way, I'm going to ink up my solid stamp image, and you can do any solid stamp image that you have. You could use the shape of a flower. This happens to be a geometric shape. And then you're going to go to any stamp that has some form of pattern or texture. So this Knit Together is perfect for this technique. So now you're going to kiss the stamp that you have with the shape, the solid shape, onto the stamp that has the pattern or the background. So I'm going to pick that up, and I don't know if you can tell, but there's a little bit of texture now on this stamp that wasn't there before because it picked up the pattern from the Knit Together. So now I'm going to stamp that down. I'm going to hold it for just a second so it transfers. Now when you pick this up, hopefully you can see the texture that is on there. I did want to share with you, this is what the stamp would look like without the texture. So there is a significant difference between this is when it's just inked with Bermuda Bay ink, and this is after doing the kissing technique. But now I'm going to show you another method. I'm going to go ahead and clean off my stamp so you can tell exactly what is going to happen with this next process. I'm going to clean off my stamp with my Simply Chamois. Now I'm going to bring back in my Knit Together stamp, and I am going to add more Bermuda Bay ink. Now I don't need to ink up the whole stamp because I just need enough for the size of my solid stamp. I want to make sure I've got it well inked. I'm going to go ahead and close up that ink before I get ink where I don't need to. And now I'm going to once again kiss the stamp to the other stamp. I'm going to pick up, now you can tell this time there's a lot more pattern on there, and once again I will stamp this down on my paper, my cardstock. And there again you can see quite the difference. You can see quite a bit of the texture on that kissing technique process versus this one. And once again, what did I do? Here it is. Let me pull in so you can see this is the stamp without doing the kissing technique. This is with inking the stamp and kissing it to the pattern stamp, and this one is inking the pattern stamp and then kissing with the solid stamp. So those are three different looks from one stamp image that you can get using without the kissing technique or with the kissing technique. So I do want to share with you some card samples that I created with this technique. So here is one, and this one is using the Snowman Magic snowman with a sentiment, but the circle right behind here used the circle from the watercolor shapes. There's a large circle from the watercolor shapes. And then I cut it out with the Stylish Shapes die, the circle die in that particular set. And then I layered that on a scallop circle from the layering circles. And all of this is layered then on a stitched rectangle die. And then the background card base, then I used the overall knit together stamp for a lot of texture. So this is the more subtle version. It's this process here where I put ink on the stamp first, and that's what I did behind here. And then this one is just the full strength, not using the kissing technique, just the regular full strength stamping to give all that texture. So that is one sample. I have another sample where I used this process where I put the ink on the knit together stamp and then used the small circle. There's the small circle from the stamp set here. And I did it in a rainbow of colors so you can see the texture really strongly there. And I layered it on a bunch of the different colors of the rainbow, and I added Woohoo You Did It, which is from the Amazing Phrasing stamp set, which is a celebration stamp set that is available until next Wednesday. Did you realize that next Wednesday is already the end of August? Our celebration promotion ends on Wednesday, August 31st, 2022. So that'll be the last chance for you to earn this free sentiment stamp set that is free with any $100 order. And your order can be anything that is a current item. So it can be anything on the clearance rack, it can be anything from the annual catalog or the July to December 2022 mini catalog. So anyway, I just wanted to share this kissing technique with you. It's an old technique that I haven't done for quite a while, and I did pull out some neglected stamp sets. So I highly encourage you to look at your stamps collection and maybe pull out some stamps that you haven't used for a while. Give them some love. Maybe try an old technique or a new technique and have some fun. So thank you again so much for watching. I hope you learned something new, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.